In the world of birds, nests aren't just homes, they're masterpieces of nature's architecture. Some are small and simple, while others are massive and mind-blowing. From giant treetop fortresses to floating nests on water, these birds take nest building to the next level. Get ready to see the 15 largest and most amazing nests in the bird world. Secret life of wild bees. Not all bees live in neat hives like honeybees. Many wild bees build their nests in surprising ways. Some, like solitary bees, prefer to live underground. They dig tunnels in sunny, open areas like gardens and meadows. A female bee starts by creating a vertical tunnel, then carves out tiny chambers where she stores pollen and nectar. She lays a single egg in each chamber, and when it hatches, the larva feeds on the stored food until it grows into an adult bee. Other bees don't dig at all. They use existing holes instead. Bumblebees, leafcutter bees, and carpenter bees nest in tree cavities, hollow stems, or even abandoned burrows. They gather materials like wood, leaves, and resin, then mix them with their saliva to build their homes. These clever bees turn nature's leftovers into cozy, well-protected nests for their young. The master nest weaver. You won't believe how talented this tiny bird is. The bioweaver is a small, colorful bird that builds incredible nests. As their name suggests, they are expert weavers, using leaves, grass, and fibers like bamboo or palm to create their homes. But here's the crazy part. They hang these nests high up on tree branches, sometimes even over water, to keep predators away. The nests are shaped like teardrops and are woven so tightly that they look like little hanging cocoons. But here's where things get even more interesting. It's the male bioweaver that does all the hard work, sometimes spending weeks building the perfect nest. Why? Because it's his way of impressing a female. The better the nest, the better his chances of finding a mate. It's like a bird's version of showing off a fancy house to win over a date. If the female likes his craftsmanship, she chooses him as her partner. Talk about a high-stakes home makeover. The sewing bird's amazing nest. This bird doesn't just build a nest, it stitches one. The common tailor bird, with its bright green feathers and fancy tail, has a unique way of making a home. Instead of stacking twigs and leaves like most birds, it actually sews leaves together using plant fibers. Its beak works like a needle, carefully stitching the edges to create a cozy, hidden nest. It's both strange and incredible to watch. But here's the real surprise. The male does all the hard work to impress a female. He builds several nests and proudly shows them off, hoping one will win her approval. If she likes one, she moves in, and the couple gets ready to start their family. All that sewing isn't just for fun, it's a serious love project. The bird that woos with trash. This bird may look plain, but its love life is anything but boring. The Vogelkop bowerbird, found in the rainforests of New Guinea's Vogelkop Peninsula, doesn't have bright feathers to impress a mate. So it gets creative. Instead of flashy colors, the male builds an incredible structure called a bower, a fancy-looking hut made just for courtship. But here's the twist. These bowers aren't nests for raising chicks. They are purely for showing off, like a bird's version of a luxury bachelor pad. And this bird doesn't stop at just building a hut. It goes all out on decorations. The male carefully arranges flowers, fruits, insect shells, and even random human trash like batteries to make his bower stand out. He's basically an artist, placing everything in the perfect spot to impress the ladies. And if that wasn't funny enough, these birds even steal decorations from each other to make their bowers look better. It's a full-on competition of who has the coolest love nest. Giant bird apartments in the desert. These birds are some of the most social in the world. Sociable weavers live in southern Africa, especially in the Kalahari Desert, where they build massive nests that can house over 100 bird families. These giant nests look like haystacks hanging from trees or utility poles, but inside, they're carefully designed apartments. Each bird family has its own chamber with narrow tunnels leading inside. The middle rooms stay warm at night, while the outer ones provide shade from the brutal desert sun. Built mainly from dry grass and twigs, these nests are sturdy enough to last for generations. But living in such a huge nest comes with dangers. Other animals often move in, and some even prey on the baby birds. Snakes, in particular, are a big problem. They slither inside and eat the eggs. Despite the risks, sociable weavers stick together because their way of life depends on it. For them, being social is not just a choice, it's how they survive. The silent destroyers. You won't see a termite chasing you or stinging you, but don't be fooled. These tiny troublemakers can cause massive damage without you even noticing. They work together in huge groups, just like ants or bees, but instead of gathering food, their main job is eating, a lot. Termites love munching on wood, which means if they get into your home, they can quietly destroy it from the inside out before you even realize what's happening. But termites aren't all bad. When they're in the right place, they actually help nature by breaking down dead plants and recycling nutrients back into the soil. Their giant, complex nests show just how hardworking they are. The problem is, if they pick your house as their next project, you'll be left with a big, expensive mess. Killer wasps on a mission. Mess with a paper wasp nest and you're asking for trouble. These wasps don't hold back when it comes to protecting their colony. Their sting is packed with nasty toxins that can be dangerous to birds, mammals, and yes, humans. If you're allergic, the reaction can be severe, but even if you're not, expect pain, swelling, and possibly life-threatening effects. But here's the real nightmare. If you squash a paper wasp, it releases a chemical signal that calls for backup. Suddenly, a whole swarm of angry wasps is coming for you. The best move? Don't kill the wasp. Just run and get as far away as possible before its friends turn you into their next target. The woodpecker's tough nest. Woodpeckers don't just find a nest, they carve one themselves. These birds use their strong, chisel-like beaks to dig out a home in trees or any sturdy wood they can find. But it's not an easy job. Depending on the type of wood and the species, it can take anywhere from 10 days to a whole month to finish. You'd think they'd choose softer wood to make life easier, but nope, they go for the tough stuff. Guess that's where the term bird brain comes in. The nest starts as a small tunnel going sideways, leading to a deeper vertical chamber. This hidden space is big enough for a pair of woodpeckers and their future babies. Unlike other birds, they don't bring in soft materials for the nest. Instead, they just leave the wood chips from their drilling at the bottom, creating a natural bedding, simple but effective. Hornbill's strange nesting secret. Hornbills have a really weird way of nesting. The female locks herself inside a tree cavity and refuses to come out. With the help of the male, she seals the entrance using mud, poop, and fruit pulp, leaving only a tiny slit. This strange method protects her from predators and parasites while she lays eggs. The male brings food through the slit, making sure she stays safe and well fed. It may sound gross, but it works like glue, keeping the nest secure. Even though it seems cruel to trap the female, hornbills prefer it this way. She stays inside for 25 to 40 days until the chicks start growing. When they are big enough, she finally breaks out of the nest to help the male feed them. This bizarre nesting habit may seem extreme, but for hornbills, it's just how they raise their families. The unbreakable nest. The hammercop bird doesn't just build a nest, it builds a fortress. These birds create massive dome-shaped nests that can be up to 5 feet across and strong enough to hold the weight of a grown human. But how do we even know that? Who decided to step on one just to see if it could hold up? That seems a little unfair. If it broke, the poor bird would have to start all over again. Both hammercop partners work together to build their nest, and it's no easy task. It can take up to 14 weeks to finish, starting with a sturdy platform of sticks, then adding thick mud walls, a domed roof, and a narrow entrance leading to a cozy chamber inside. One nest can use around 8,000 sticks and weigh up to 50 pounds. The craziest part, even when they're not breeding, hammercops just keep building nests over and over again, as if they can't help themselves. Tiny bird, genius nest. This little bird may be small, but its home is nothing short of amazing. The Cape Penduline tit, one of Africa's tiniest birds, builds a fancy nest that looks like a soft, cozy ball. Made from spider silk, plant fibers, and even animal fur, it's the perfect safe spot for their chicks. But here's the real surprise. This nest has a secret entrance. To keep predators away, these clever birds create a fake opening to trick them. The real entrance is hidden under a flap at the bottom, which the adult birds seal shut when they leave. It's like a built-in security system. proving that even the smallest creatures can be incredibly smart. Bird's nest soup, a pricey delicacy. Would you eat a soup made from bird spit? Sounds strange, right? But in Southeast Asia, there's a bird called the swiftlet that builds its nest entirely from its own sticky saliva. Unlike most birds, swiftlets don't live in trees. They make their homes in dark caves. Their spit hardens when exposed to air, creating a unique nest that people have been collecting for generations. During the 35-day breeding season, these nests cling to cave walls, waiting to be harvested. And yes, someone, at some point, decided to boil one in a broth and call it a delicacy. Now here's where it gets even wilder. These nests aren't just food. They're believed to have magical youth-preserving powers. In Chinese tradition, bird's nest soup has been prized for its supposed health benefits for centuries. Because of this, people are willing to spend a fortune on it. The rarest type, made by the red nest swiftlet, can sell for an unbelievable $10,000. So while it may just be hardened bird spit, to some, it's worth its weight in gold. The red oven bird's clay home. This bird is a master builder. The Rufous hornero, also called the red oven bird, gets its name because it builds a nest that looks like an old-fashioned clay oven. Both the male and female work together, sometimes finishing in just a few days, while other times, it takes them months to complete their perfect home. They build their nests on trees, fence posts, or even buildings, using mud, clay, and plant fibers. The result? A tough, well-insulated nest that keeps them safe from predators and protects their eggs from extreme temperatures. But here's the interesting part. Sometimes they don't even reuse their old nests. Instead, they build new ones right next to or even on top of the old ones, creating layers of clay homes in the same spot. When they finally move on, other birds often take over the abandoned nests, turning them into their own cozy shelters. Hidden rabbit homes. Mother rabbits are experts at hiding their babies. They dig small, shallow holes in the ground, usually in places with tall grass and bushes to keep predators away. These nests are also close to food, so the mother can stay nearby without leaving her babies alone for too long. Once she digs the hole, she makes it soft and warm by filling it with grass, leaves, and even fur she pulls from her own chest and belly. When the babies are born, they have no scent, making them harder for predators to find. The mother is extra careful, only visiting the nest a couple of times a day to avoid attracting attention to her tiny, helpless babies. Hanging basket homes. These birds know how to build fancy homes. The Montezuma oropendola, found in the tropical lowlands of Central America, creates hanging nests that look like long woven baskets dangling from trees. A single colony can have over 100 of these nests swaying in the wind. The females are the master builders, carefully weaving their nests to be anywhere from 2 to 6 feet long. But here's the clever part. These birds don't just pick any tree. They build their nests near wasp colonies. It might sound risky, but wasps help keep predators and harmful insects away. This natural security system makes their hanging homes extra safe, giving them a better chance to raise their young without trouble. The bird that walks on water. This bird has a superpower. It can walk on water. The African jacana, also called the Jesus bird, has long toes that let it step across lily pads like it's floating. But that's not the only amazing thing about them. These birds have a unique family system, where one female mates with multiple males. Instead of the female building a nest, the males do all the work. They create floating nests using water plants, placing them on the water to keep them safe from land predators. And if danger comes too close, no problem. The nests can be moved to a safer spot. Once the female lays her eggs, her job is done. Now, the male takes full responsibility, incubating the eggs for 22 to 24 days. When the chicks hatch, they're already quite active and can move around easily. But the father doesn't stop caring for them. He watches over his little ones closely, even carrying them under his wings to protect them. It's a clever and caring system that helps these birds survive in the wild. The thornbird's impressive nest. The common thornbird is like an architect of the bird world. These birds don't just build nests, they create massive, multi-room homes high up in trees and shrubs, often more than 3 meters above the ground. Their nests are hard to miss, with multiple entrances and different sections for shelter and breeding. But they don't stop there. Thornbirds are always working on their nests, adding new touches and making repairs all year round. For them, these nests are long-term investments. Thornbirds often reuse the same nest for several breeding seasons, with some staying active for over a year. They even keep old nests in their territory and return to fix them up. Their nest designs vary. A few look like oven-shaped structures, while others resemble messy piles of branches. This just shows how adaptable these birds are. They can build a nest anywhere using whatever materials they can find. Tiny wonders, the hummingbird's nest. Hummingbirds build some of the smallest nests in the world, no bigger than a ping pong ball. These tiny birds choose delicate spots like tree forks, thin twigs, or even risky ledges to make their homes. But here's the surprising part. The female does all the work. She carefully weaves plant fibers, moss, and even spider silk to create a flexible, cup-shaped nest. That spider silk is a game changer. Not only does it glue the nest together, but it also stretches as the baby birds grow, making it the perfect snug home. To stay hidden from predators, the outside is covered with bits of lichen, moss, and bark. It's a tiny masterpiece of nature, built with skill and a little spider magic. The master builder bird. This little masked weaver bird is a true architect of the animal world. The male masked weaver spends days weaving an intricate nest, one of the fanciest bird homes you'll ever see. But he's not just building for fun, he's doing it to impress the ladies. Using strips of grass, reeds, and palm leaves, he carefully weaves a strong hanging nest, often choosing a tree branch over water to keep predators away. These nests can be shaped like spheres or even little kidney beans, making them both unique and secure. But here's the real twist. If a female isn't impressed, she won't move in. Instead, she'll reject the nest, forcing the male to tear it down and start all over again. Talk about dedication. While he builds, he also sings and shows off, hoping to win a mate. And if she finally approves, she'll add soft materials like feathers inside, making it cozy for her eggs. These little birds may be small, but their determination to impress is anything but. The shy bird with a giant nest. This chubby little bird from Australia might look cute, but it's one of the shyest creatures out there. It has a round body, a tiny head, and barely ever flies unless it needs to escape danger. Despite all that, you'll almost never see one because they freeze in fear at the slightest sound. And while they prefer staying hidden, their nesting habits are surprisingly bold. The male builds a massive mound for the eggs, scraping the ground to make a dip and filling it with leaves, bark, and sticks, kind of like making a compost pile. He keeps adding soil and turning the materials until it's just right. The female then lays her eggs inside, sometimes up to 30 of them. But here's the craziest part. Once the chicks hatch, they roll down the mound, and the parents are long gone. These birds are so antisocial that even if they accidentally bump into another, they completely ignore each other, except when it's time to mate. Birds are truly nature's greatest architects, building nests that are strong, smart, and sometimes even bigger than humans. Which one amazed you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more incredible nature stories. See you in the next one.